Also today, President Trump imposed 50% tariffs on nearly all goods arriving from India. The 50% tariff is part of Trump's punishment for India for buying Russian oil. Former White House Chief of Staff in the first Trump administration and former Republican Congressman from North Carolina, Mark Meadows, joins me. And Mark, unfortunately, the news of the day is the horrible, violent shooting out in Minnesota. And I don't know, I never know what to say in these shootings. I've covered them all the way back to Columbine, these school shootings. So maybe you have something to say. I do not. They're just tragic, horrible, and they don't stop.
Well, they are tragic, and they affect us not only for us because we can envision our loved ones being in the same situation, and yet one of the things that we're seeing in Washington, D.C., Greta, is that when you have additional law enforcement officers in and around and perhaps making those places not only of worship but our schools a little bit more hardened from a standpoint of these infiltrations, that's something that we have to consider. And I know it's something that going back even when I was a freshman member of Congress, I looked at to make sure that the resources are there, not just in the big schools, but in every school across the country to make sure that they have the resources to protect our children. But our prayers and our thoughts are certainly with those that were in harm's way and those families that were affected by this horrific action. And Secretary Noem put it very well in her statement. But when we look at this, it is critically important that we remain vigilant, not only in our schools but in our cities. And we're seeing that was a remarkable statement by Mayor Bowser as it relates to the crime in Washington, D.C. And I used to say that the federal government was not good at much of anything other than defending our country, but we're seeing this president take action in the nation's capital. And you and I both know people that are very close that have lost their lives or have been affected by crime in our nation's capital. And so it's a welcome support by this administration.
Well, first, my remark on the killer in Minnesota is that I do not believe, of course, there's still more information to disprove what I think, but I do not believe he just woke up today and decided to do this. I believe that we're probably going to discover that there's a lot of information preceding it and that a lot of people sort of look the other way, and why it's so important if you have a child who is acting like this or do something that you take action and report it. That's the first thing. But that's just my wild guess. As for Mayor Bowser, I think her statement is extremely significant. And I think it really is a message to mayors around the country. I mean, the mayor in Chicago doesn't want the President Trump in there trying to stop crime. But when you hear what Mayor Bowser said, I mean, it is so extraordinary how much she said that in the first 20 days of this month compared to a year ago, 87% reduction in carjackings from a year ago. I mean, the amount of crime and what President Trump has done in 20 days here in this city, if I were the mayor of Chicago, I'd be begging him to send the troops when I hear Mayor Bowser saying these things.
Well, I've had the privilege of working with Mayor Bowser when I was in Congress and also in the White House. And the one thing that is to be applauded here today is this hand-in-glove approach. I mean, she mentioned it in her response in that this was a response in helping the Metropolitan Police Department there in D.C., very capable men and women. And so this federal response is to augment that. But here's the other thing is those other mayors should take a lesson, because it's not just on sending National Guard and federal law enforcement officers to make sure that D.C. is safe. But if you were to say we're going to reduce crime by 87%, what mayor in the United States would not say, please send us as much as you can? Let me just tell you, they're not shy about asking for federal relief when they have a fire or a hurricane.
People think news just happens. It doesn't. It happens because there's someone there to capture the moment, to explain it and share it. That's my job. I go where news breaks and give you the facts. Join me for The Record on Newsmax.